Hello everyone, this is Shivani and welcome back to my channel LitFun. Today we are going to be discussing the book that has touched millions of hearts all around the world. It emphasizes on the condition of women in Afghanistan in the backdrop of war. I am sure many of you must have already guessed. Yes, today we are going to discuss about the book A Thousand Splendid Suns written by Khaled Hosseini. He is also written The Kite Runner, one of the most popular books in today's time. So without any further ado, let's begin. So the story starts with Maryam, who is a little girl and she lives outside the city of Herat with her mother. She is often termed and labeled by society as Harami. Now, as you must have already guessed, it's because that she is an illegitimate child. That means she is living alone with her mother only, whom she calls Nana. Nana is a frustrated and a stubborn woman full of negativity who is always scolding and screaming Maryam. But you can understand her lot as well because a lot has happened with her and she is handling everything single-handedly. So yes, she is frustrated. She must have felt betrayed when her husband or when her beloved estranged her after making her pregnant. On the other hand is Maryam's father, who has not completely abandoned them. He is Jalil, a rich and a famous businessman who lives in the city Herat. Every once in a week he visits Maryam and he is full of positivity and Maryam loves to spend time with him. But she is not satisfied with the limited presence of Jalil in her life, and she wants him all for herself. Now this thing also troubles Nana because she knows, she has experienced it herself, how she had trusted the man and she had been betrayed. So as a result, she constantly quips about it. She constantly tries to give a reality check to Maryam that he is not a good man. But obviously, being a child, Maryam does not understand. She gets tired of Nana and she wants to spend more and more time with Jalil. Now the turning point comes when it is 15th birthday of Maryam. Every time it's time to meet Jalil, she would wait anxiously and would keep looking outside the window to see his presence. And for her 15th birthday, she demands that she wants to see the movie Pinocchio with Jalil. He reluctantly agrees. Though Nana already warns her that Jalil would not turn up, but Maryam is absolutely sure that he would come. But ultimately, Nana is proved right. Jalil never shows up and he never takes her to the cinema. Heartbroken, Maryam leaves the house and goes to Herat in order to find Jalil. She finds his house, but to her dismay, she is denied the entry inside the house. It rains heavily and she spends the entire night at the street, sleeping in the street. But Jalil does not open the gates of house. He is also confined. Why? Because he has other 3 wives and other children, and apparently they are more important as is his social status to him. Heartbroken, when she returns back home the next morning, she finds that her mother had committed suicide. She was hanging there. And this leaves Maryam devastated. From this action alone, you can see that how Nana had loved Maryam, because yes, she was negative, yes, she was frustrated, but what was the purpose? Why was she living? She was living solely because of Maryam. And when she felt that even Maryam had left her, she had no reason left to live and she committed suicide. So you could imagine the state of that 15-year-old girl who has just been abandoned by her father, who had got the reality check, and now she has lost everything that she had. She had lost her mother as well. Now, because she does not have anyone else to take care of, Maryam is taken back to Herat, to Jalil's house. She does not have any hope and she does not want to, see any hope, because she absolutely hates Jalil now. It's because of him she has lost her mother. And obviously the other wives of Jalil also wants nothing to do with Maryam. They hate her because it's like another child and they fixes her marriage alliance with Rashid, who is a shoemaker in Kabul. What's problematic is that Mariam is recovering. She has not even recovered from the loss of her mother, and she's just a 15-year-old girl. And Rashid, her fiance, is a 40-year-old widowed man. Just imagine a 15-year-old girl marrying to a 40-year-old man. And the three wives also had their daughters, but apparently they were too young to get married. But Mariam, because she was an extra burden, she gets married off, and Jalil does nothing to stop it. When they are leaving for Kabul, Jalil comes over there, but Mariam refuses to look at him, and she goes with Rashid. Now this marks a new beginning in the life of Mariam, and things seem hopeful in the beginning. Rashid treats her nicely. He takes her with him to the walks, feeds her ice cream and everything. So Mariam develops a ray of hope that maybe the things will change for better. But all the time, please remember that Mariam is clad in a burqa and Rashid is very, very conservative. Now things change when Mariam gets pregnant. So everyone is happy, because why Rashid married in the first place was that he had a son earlier whom he had lost, and he wanted to fill that void. He wanted to have a replacement for that son. He wanted to have another son of his own. But things do not turn in their way as Mariam faces a miscarriage, and after that Rashid, he gets completely aloof. He starts mistreating Mariam, not realizing that she has also lost something of her own. But he is just drowned in his own pity, in his own sorrow, and he does not care about Mariam. And this is not the end. Mariam experiences a series of miscarriage after miscarriage, which leaves their relationship absolutely broken. This again reflects on the condition of women. What is their purpose? Apparently just to give birth to the children. And there is a line over there that treacherous daughters do not deserve to be mothers, and this was her punishment. So this line alone tells that how Mariam is guilt ridden, that she had once forsaken her mother, and that is the reason she is not getting pregnant. This is what she thinks. Anyway, Rashid treats her very, very badly. He hits her, abuses her physically, verbally, in all the ways. She's being tortured, physically, mentally, emotionally, and all she has left to do was just look after the household work. No getting out, no smiling, no, a general talk, nothing. He is extremely harsh with her. Another family in their neighborhood is Laila'S family. She is another girl in the story, another female protagonist. She has a very nice family and a very modern one at thoughts. Her father is extremely supportive, and he sends Laila to school, and he visions a very bright future for her. She also has a boy, Tariq, in her neighborhood whom she feels very connected with. Tariq, although is handicapped, but is extremely able and has a lot of strength and is capable of protecting Laila. We see it when some boys try to tease Laila. He hits them with her crutches that he uses. So they both share a very, very nice and a very, very pure bond, which soon turns into love as they turn teenagers. However, the life is not all hearts and flowers for Laila, because in the background Afghan-Soviet war is going on, and as wars do, they completely change a person's life and they affect them in the worst way possible. So Laila had two elder brothers who were soldiers, and as soon as the war broke out, they both went out to fight the war. And as the news of their martyrdom reaches the family completely loses it, especially Laila'S mother. She is grieved and she just loses interest in all the life. She wears the black clothes, draws the curtain, closes the door and shuts herself in the room, and pulling the covers, pulling the blanket over her head. She refuses to acknowledge anything. She refuses to participate in anything that is going around. And who suffers the most because of this? It's Laila. Because she never gets the love, the attention of the mother that she so deserved, because the mother was busy grieving for her dead sons. So life moves on, and one day Tariq comes and tells Laila that they will be shifting to Pakistan. Why? Because every other day there were bombs that were being thrown over the houses. A lot of people died, and things were getting worse in Kabul, and they were not, apt that someone must be living there. And of course, Tariq had his own troubles. His father was a heart patient, so they had to leave. Before he left, Tariq and Laila finally, makes love, and they do it very, very passionately. So this is the only cherished memory, the last memory that she has of Tariq, after which he leaves. Here, Laila'S father tries to convince Laila'S mother as well to, leave for a safer place, but she does not agree. She says that her sons had lost her lives thinking that they will, contribute to something, and she wants to see that country free. She wants to see Afghanistan in a better condition, and she is not going to insult the sacrifices made by her son. So she refuses to leave. Things progress, and one day what happens? So things progress, and of course the condition of women is very pathetic, as you all know. Whenever the wars, or there is a uproar in the society, the first and the foremost victims are the women. Why? Because the number of rape cases increase. So it comes on the security of the women, and things get so worse that the father has to ask Laila to stop going to school. And one of her friends, while she was passing on the street, this was the major drawback or major trauma that hits them hard, that a bomb dropped on her, and nothing was left, just the pieces of flesh, and only her leg and the shoe, because of which she could be identified. This leaves a very, very, very deep impact on everyone, and finally Laila'S mother agrees to leave for a safer place. Again, things are hopeful for some, extremely bad for others. And what's shocking is that the members of Taliban and the other terrorists, they are just very, they are young boys. And when they destroy one's house, they capture that house and start living in them. So they are living in their locality, in their neighborhood, watching girls, passing comments, firing and everything. It's such a traumatic and disturbing situation. But anyways, Laila is happy that at least her mother has decided to move outside of the place, and she's also hopeful that maybe she would get to meet Tariq again. They are packing the boxes, most of their stuff being the books, and they are keeping the boxes outside. When Laila's mother calls them for the lunch, so Laila asks her father to go inside while she'll just place this last box outside and will join them. And as soon as the father turns inside, again another rocket drops on their home, leaving nothing but the debris all around. Nothing is left. Her parents die instantly, and again everything ends for them. Rashid, while he was passing there, he sees Laila, who was, who was under all that debris, and he rescues her out, and he takes Laila home and he treats her. Now she is heavily bruised, and because of the impact, because of the blast, she becomes deaf in one ear. Mariam takes care of her. However, they do not feel connected, or she is a little wary of her presence in her home. Rashid has another plans. Now what does he do? Very shamelessly, he proposes Laila for a marriage. And he frames the proposal as if he is doing a favor to Laila. Why? Because he is going to give her the protection. Just again, it's somewhat same as Mariam's situation. Mariam had also lost her everything when the proposal of Rashid came for her, and Laila also here, she's devastated. She has lost everything in life that she had. She had lost her family, she had lost her parents, she had lost everything. And here Rashid comes to her rescue and acts as her savior, that if she would marry him, there would be no one who would dare to raise an eye at her. Obviously, she does not respond. She does not want to marry him. But at Rashid very well knows, but he still gives her time. What happens a few days later is that a man arrives with a message that Tariq was dead. He tells the story in detail, that he had met Tariq in a hospital and they had both started talking, and Tariq was badly injured, and it was his last wish to give his last message to you, and that's why I have come here to meet you. It's like Laila is shaken to the core. The only hope that she had lost that single hope also. She had lost the love of her life. And she knows, Laila realizes that she was pregnant with Tariq's child. Having no option left, she agrees to marry Rashid. Two women living in a same house become competitors of each other. Mariam is very hostile towards Laila. Although she has nothing in her house, she has no respect, no reputation, no love with Rashid, but still she sees Laila as a threat to her territory. Once the house that was once her own, that was of Mariam's, now is transferred to Laila, and Mariam is reduced to just being a housemaid. She is ordered to serve Laila in every way that Laila demands of. Soon, Laila gives birth to a baby girl who is named Aziza. Now, Mariam feels drawn to that girl. She is like very cute, and Mariam has always wanted children, but she has never been fortunate enough. She feels drawn, but she does not show her emotions. However, she do keep the old clothes that she had prepared with her own hands for her children. She leaves those clothes outside of Laila'S room, and one day when that little girl Aziza holds Mariam's hand, everything changes. She starts feeling that she belonged, that she had the children that she always wanted, and she starts seeing Laila as her own daughter. The two women unite against the assaults of Rashid and find solace in one another. Things were going all right. Rashid did not have a very positive relationship with either of the women. He would just go fuck Laila and would leave, and Laila would be relieved that at least he had gone, because she hated her presence. She hated his presence. So things were going as they were when they all receive a huge shock when Tariq arrives at their door. Before this, I also want to tell you one thing, that Laila gets another baby also, that is Rashid's child, and they name him Zulmai. So when he was in Laila'S womb, Laila had thought of killing the child because she didn't want to give Rashid's child a birth, but she is unable to do so, because as much as the child belonged to Rashid, she belonged to her as well. So she had grown to love the child, to accept the child, and Rashid had got whatever he wanted. He had got his lost son back. So now coming back to present, things turn around when Laila sees Tariq at the door. And it was the point when Mariam realizes what dirty trick Rashid had played. He had no whereabouts of Tariq. He had hired a man deliberately to lie to Laila, because he knew that they had something going on. And once Laila knows that Tariq was dead, she would be forced to marry him. Now Rashid is at work, and Tariq and Laila spends the whole day together. Tariq shares how in such inhuman conditions he had survived and what all he had lost. The conditions of the refugee camps, they are They were so messy and they were so inhuman that one gets goosebumps and they feel like crying after reading their stories. So anyways, Tariq also gets to know what had happened with Laila and he returns back. At the night at the dining table, Zulmai is very very close to Rashid and he reveals that a boy had come who was handicapped to meet the mother. And Rashid instantly realizes that it must have been Tariq. He loses his temper. He asks Zulmai to get out and go in his room. Now Zulmai is also terrified. He feels that maybe he has revealed something that he shouldn't have, but he obeys and he goes inside his room. And there he starts creating havoc. He beats up Laila mercilessly, and when Mariam tries to intervene, he throws her away. And it's such a brutal treatment. It's he's such a heavy man and he's treating these two women so mercilessly. He was overpowering Laila and he would have killed her had Mariam not intervened. At this point, Mariam does what she was never able to do for herself. She takes a stand, she takes a spade and swings it hard at the back of Rashid's head. And he dies there instantly. Both the women are left panting, but Mariam is very much in control. She takes his body and buries him outside of the ground, while Laila is guilt-ridden that she had, she had snatched Zulmai from his father. She had snatched Zulmai's father from him. She had killed him, but Mariam is in control, and she, consoles her and she gives her the assurance that nothing is going to happen. So here you see the sacrifice of Mariam, as she had really come to see Laila as her own child. Now, before things take other turn, let me tell you brief about Aziza also. We have seen that Zulmai was in room, but what about her girl Aziza? She was sent to an orphanage. Somewhere Rashid had always known that Aziza was the illegitimate child of Laila and Tariq. He could tell it with the color of her eyes, and he had never liked her. She was very sincere and a very nice girl, so he was tolerating her, but he would never buy anything for her. And soon he got fed up and he said that they did not have enough resources to feed everyone around, and that's why she was given away into the orphanage. Laila would beg Rashid to accompany her, so that she could meet Aziza, but that would happen a very few times. And the condition was so much worse that when they would try to go and meet, Aziza herself, many times they would be stopped by the officials, they would be beaten, badly, and they would be sent back home. So you cannot even understand what Aziza was going through in that pathetic condition of that orphanage. And she had started, stammering, her confidence absolutely lost. Here Laila was suffering. She was, in so much pain and agony. She wanted to go and meet her daughter, but she could not do that because the women were just not allowed to move outside without a man with their side. And we also get to see some, people who would do anything for money, or who did not just understand the plight of women. So instead they would betray and they would, go and tell soldiers that they were traveling alone and would get them into trouble. So things were extremely pathetic and painful for the women at that time. Anyways, coming back, Mariam decides that Laila is going to go and meet with Tariq, and they are going to shift to Pakistan after taking Aziza and Zulmai with them. Laila is hesitant at first, but Mariam convinces her. She turns herself to Taliban and confesses that she has murdered her husband, making the way clear for Laila. Tariq is, touched when he meets his daughter Aziza, and with his family, with Laila, Aziza and Zulmai, they shift to Pakistan and they start leading a life they had always dreamed of. Initially, Zulmai is seen missing his father terribly, and he is a little hostile towards Tariq, but slowly he warms up because of the good nature of Tariq. And Laila ponders over the similarity between Tariq and Aziza. Without even having to say anything, Aziza understands what Tariq wants and is always there with him. So their family bond is strengthening and they are living a peaceful life. And here in Kabul, Mariam gets executed. So then another one day they see that on television that things were changing in Kabul for better as United States has intervened over there, and it was then that Laila recalls her father's words that Afghan would need women like you. So she is determined to return back to her country and to build her country back to serve her country. Tariq agrees and they decide to return. But on their way, they stop in the village where Mariam used to live. When she goes to her cottage, she meets her neighbors, who are extremely thrilled to meet someone who knows Mariam, but then are equally grieved when they get to know that Mariam had died. Anyways, they hand over a box to Laila, and when she comes home, she watches the content. She, reads the letter that is written by Jalil, her father, who wanted to deliver it to Laila. He had delivered it to Mariam. He had also once visited Mariam to Kabul, but she had refused to see him, to meet him. Jalil was also very guilt-ridden. He loses everything eventually, and there was one CD also, one tape that she finds, and when Laila plays it, it was the movie Pinocchio that Jalil had wanted, Mariam to see. So what she had wanted, her wishes were there within, but sometimes it takes too long to fulfill them that once, is never able to benefit from it. So she is dead, and she never knew that her father genuinely loved her maybe and wanted to fulfill her wish. She dies feeling abandoned, but at least she had a satisfaction that she had done something good for Laila. So even if as I'm speaking, it's a highly emotional story. You go through so much, emotions, because the entire life of Mariam had been a struggle, had been a mess. There had hardly been any moments of respite for her where she had actually felt happy and relieved and smiled. Anyways, the entire family returns to Kabul, and Laila starts teaching in the orphanage where Aziza had once been put up, and the children are slowly, adapting to the new environment, and they are living as a happy family as much as they can. So that's it. The novel ends here. Khaled Hosseini very, very beautifully brings out all the emotions, all the conditions of the Afghan, their women, and all the struggles that people had to do in order to keep up with the changing social and political context. So this was it, and do leave your comments and do let us know how you like the story and what is your take on the condition of women or on the characters that we had discussed. We would love to hear your perspective on it. Until we meet next with another story, see ya, bye bye, have a nice day and keep reading.